Forgot. I didn't hit the button. All right, and welcome back. I am Bahamut, your caster. This evening, on the left, we have Game of Thrones, and on the right, we have ReGen. I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about this matchup for multiple reasons. One, this is a awesome Division B matchup for the Nexus Gaming Series. Also Eastern, just a side note so everyone does know what region we're casting right now. And the other factor too is that these are teams that like used to play together. These guys have like scrimmed together. So these, I mean, God, like ReGen brought, like I've known ReGen since like last season of Chair League, and then they brought me into a bunch of different leagues, and then they split, and then oh my God, I just gotta say this is going to be an intense matchup because these teams, you know, they're friends, they're allies. I mean, they're also competitors too. So this is. The competitive spirit is really alive between these two, and I'm really excited to see what's going to be happening. So, on the left-hand side, Game of Thrones is going to be banning out that Genji. What's ReGen going to be considering here on Towers of Doom? They don't have first pick. I know that Murda does prioritize the Dahaka, and it is very strong here, but without the first pick, do they risk giving that over, or do they risk the Hanzo? Hanzo has had a lot of priority, and he is pretty strong on especially maps like this. You get those angles with the splintered arrow. That's probably not right, but either way, you can get so much poke out of him. So I think either the Hanzo ban, Lucio, just if we're gonna just mention a support really quick, or Dahaka. And I like the Hanzo ban. It's not a bad idea. They don't like the brothers. It's to be expected, especially, you know, after the great weekend, honestly. Well, Hanzo had a pretty good weekend, mostly, I would say, in, was it EU? No, it was Korea had the highest stats, I think. I can't remember. He was 50% overall, but either way. It's a really good choice. But they're going to go ahead and pick up the Gray Man on the side of Game of Thrones. I really like that, actually. Versatile hero, works well in a team fight, works well for poke onto the shrine, as well as he has a little bit of solo lane, solo camp ability. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and, on the side of ReGen, pick up Lucio Arthas together right now. For like a hot second, I was like, did I swap these teams around wrong? But no, that was, I think, Murda reminding his own teammates. Kaisers, how you doing? Thanks for swinging by, dude. All right, so these next two pickups, though, on the side of Game of Thrones. Do they try and... Okay. I was about to say, do they try and take away the solo laner, one of the strong solo lane for ReGen? And they do. And then I was like, what do they take in the other factors? What support do they take? Or do they just go... No, they wouldn't pick up a main tank with that. I kind of have to root for ReGen. Old team members collide together in a match made for... Bag of memes. Sorry, I didn't know. I was like, what am I? All right, that's good. But overall, no, though that I really like that out of Game of Thrones, picking that up, kind of being heads up and seeing that, you know, ReGen has prioritized the Dahakas. They're going to take it themselves. And the Malfurion, really quickly, just talking about him, in kind of where Malfurion's sitting, it's kind of seemingly a little bit more popular than Stukov with the changes that have come into him. So I like the pickup onto Malfurion. The roots are strong. The poke is strong from him as well. And then the overall, the buff he can give to his teammates is really powerful as well. Ooh. But they're going to go ahead and ban out a Nubarak on the side of ReGen. Unless maybe they're trying to prioritize themselves. I'm just like, why are you focusing the Anubarak? I mean, he's pretty powerful. I know he can realistically shut down your healer, and I'm not disagreeing with the ban at all, but isn't it something strong that you can consider yourself? Or maybe they're just not going into that route. They just overall don't want to have any sort of shutdown onto the Lucio. They're not gonna. There's no way they're going to. I think the Malthael ban is just for the solo lane. But for like a hot second, I'm like, you're not gonna choke all Game of Thrones, are you? Because I'm not saying it's like, ooh, there's the Malthael ban. That means it's coming. They got the Greymane. They stuck it away. Like, I'm just saying, like, that it's a possibility. He works on this map. It's a viable option. I doubt that they'll go into it. I realistically just think that they want to ban out the Malthael because he's strung up against the Dahaka in this situation and will be a nuisance for him. The other thing to consider, though, is like Sonya's just been flying right through here. We're not even looking or considering Sonya. Because I'm wondering if maybe the Anubarak ban threw them off thinking that they weren't going to be going into a second tank on the side of ReGen, so that's why they went for the Malthael ban? And that they were thinking that the Arthas would be the solo laner, but it looks like Thrall might be the solo laner, if anything. It's an interesting pickup. I like the kind of synergy that they're slowly starting to put together on the side of ReGen. A lot of really good just stop. Like, so far you got the root from Arthas. You've got, oh my god, I cannot remember. You've got the whirlwind from Kael'thas. You've got a stun from Thrall. Then overall, if you go into the Earthquake, you've got Phoenix on top of that. You could potentially go into the Centrigosa, which I think I swear I've casted Murda on Arthas before going Centrigosa. And on a map like this where sieging is pretty powerful, I wouldn't be too surprised to see that. So there is like a really good synergy that I think they're building on the side of ReGen. Realistically, it's just, will Game of Thrones see that and how are they going to counteract it? And that's interesting. Okay. Chromie for the poke, really powerful, and especially in something like that where a lot of these members might group together for a fight within the Earthquake. Chromie's poke could be really powerful, and they kind of bring in their own sort of slow too, kind of evening the playing field with that. And even then, they don't have a cleanse yet, so Temporal Loop is a huge option, and they have no way to shut it down. So they either need to pick up some sort of cleanse in this last slot or go the game without a cleanse. They could go double healer here, but I feel like they'd be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. I'm a little worried on the side of ReGen now because the ETC poses quite a big threat. Whirlwind does interrupt Mosh, but Sunder interrupts Mosh. But it could anti-synergize with the Centrigosa if they go into that. I'm just trying to look at all the avenues here, and this is looking really exciting. Like, I really like what we've got kind of shaping up here. Whew. Okay, so they're gonna go for the solo tank Arthas. That's good. I like the siege that's going to come out of ReGen. But overall, that's a pretty scary draft on the side of Game of Thrones. Really quickly, while we're loading in here, there's something I didn't talk about in draft. Just so I can note it for chat and everything. Also, hi to everyone who swung by. Thank you for coming by and watching. This is a huge matchup. I'm super pumped to be casting this. But ReGen won the coin flip. They banned out Braxis Holdout. Game of Thrones obviously then banned out... or not obviously, but they had the next ban. They banned out Battlefield of Eternity. First pick was Towers of Doom, and then game after this will be Tomb of the Spider Queen. But let's get into this. Game number 1 between Game of Thrones and ReGen. Oh, and my moot bot went twice. All right, let's get into this. On the left-hand side, we have Game of Thrones with Zul'Jin on that Chromie, Zunicorn going to be on the Dahaka, Templar going to be playing that ETC, Crazy Ivan on the Greymane, and rounding it out with Ragnarok on the Malfurion. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with So Lucky going to be playing the Vala, Danik's going to be playing the Kael'thas, Rising Star on the Arthas, Murda gonna actually be on that Thrall, and Frost Absol gonna be rounding out the team on that Lucio. But let's go ahead and get into this. Looks like we're gonna have both teams square up straight into the mid here. And they're going to play it safe. Especially with Chromie being able to poke, and she also does have that Time Walker's Pursuit, so she will have that vision availability. We do have one member currently dropping, and yep, that is going to be right away. We have somebody who's going to be dropping out, so we're going to have a pause. Pause break. And I didn't hit this. All right, let's get back into this. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we do have Game of Thrones, and on the right, we have ReGen. So while they're kind of making these rotations, and we kind of already noted this a little bit here, the way that I see Game of Thrones winning this because that their composition is strong throughout the entire map. They have poke throughout almost every phase with Chromie. They have good dive with Crazy Ivan, as well as the roots and setup from Templar and Ragnarok. And so you can also get the zoning as well. So as long as they have like a target that is a little too far forward, like for example, So Lucky right there could have gotten dove on. I think that's one of the ways that Game of Thrones can just slowly win this game, because their composition lends to that overall, like, we're going to just, if we get an experience advantage and they just kind of roll with it, it's going to pretty much win them out the entire game. And now I'm not saying that ReGen, they don't have a composition that can win. I'm just saying that with their composition, I think it's a little bit different. It's more along the lines of, I feel like there's a lot of things that work better as their heroes level throughout this. Or excuse me, once they get to 10, is Titan's King. What just happened? There was a DC. But the way that I see that their composition working, there we go. The way I see their composition working out here is just overall, once they get to 10, they're going to definitely have a power spike, and there's going to be a synergy between their teams, and I think that's where they possess the power to actually, win this. That's their winning condition in this match, in my opinion. Okay. We can talk a little bit about rotations, a little bit about talents here. We do have a slight XP advantage on the side of Game of Thrones. We can also just peek into top right here. Looks like Zunicorn's pushed Murda in evenly. I would say that it is a little bit more in favor of Zunicorn, but overall, I don't see this matchup being anything too crazy. We also have this camp being pushed into bottom lane that was picked up by Crazy Ivan during all those rotations. And Kael'Thas actually going to be still in that mid lane going up against Chromie. They're going to go ahead and actually take all three of those sappers. And this is going to be the first altar phase popping up here. Overall, I mean, it's about a half a level lead in favor of Game of Thrones. They're going to go ahead and position Zunicorn up in this top left. Looks like the majority of the team is going to be in this bottom position, but do we have Chromie? Looks like Zulkin's going to go ahead and stall out Murda while the rest of the team kind of pokes. We do have the left side being picked up. Looks like Murda's going to be kind of playing this back a little bit. Zunicorn coming in here. Rootbeat will be going out, but it looks like there is a tongue that pulls him right back in. Zulkin misses, but it looks like we do get the first kill of the game going over to Game of Thrones. And with that, they're going to be trying to take advantage of this three-man while they have just the chance. And it actually looks like we're going to have Zunicorn pop into the enemy team. And this potentially could be bad. It looks like he'll just go right back out. And they're actually going to have Zulkin pick up the altar right now. And there's a onto So Lucky. He was trying to rotate, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to capitalize on that. But a little bit of a stall out there, and definitely able to go ahead and pick up all three of the altars. That is going to be... It's just going to be all three of the altars being picked up there by the members of Game of Thrones. And I honestly, I don't think I've casted any games like that yet. I don't think I've casted like a perfect game by any means. But we'll see. It looks like that's what Game of Thrones has set their eyes on it. And so I do want to mention that these teams, like, they're former teammates and players and, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of like... I know that these teams have been really, really excited about this, and I've been pumped, honestly, like all weekend to cast this game. Ragnarok going to get chased here a little bit by So Lucky, but Crazy Ivan going to be returning a little bit of damage onto him as well. Do have Templar kind of just catching some of these members and just making sure that they rotate their way, not coming on to the Greymane or the Malfear. And we also see another thing to note here is that Game of Thrones is prioritizing these camps as they're kind of popping up, making sure that they're feeding these sappers in, trying to get this extra damage in this bottom, because the big thing with bottom lane on this map is there are two big altars that you can capture and also capitalize by having both altars, because it just makes the rotation from the enemy team so much harder to actually try and come into either of these altars if you're holding, theirs, and they, this is the easy way. You have to basically either funnel in through the top, through mid, or from that camp. So it just kind of limits your options of any sort of flank or opening. And honestly, just Game of Thrones doing a very good job at making sure that their lanes stay pushed up. They're not going too far out, and they're playing a very good game. At the same time, ReGen has done the exact same thing. They've been pushing their lanes up. They got caught out once, but that was just during an altar phase. We do actually have the a lot of damage going out onto So Lucky, and he will be caught out, and that is going to be the temporal loop, as I did talk about in draft. They don't have any sort of cleanse to deal with that, so that's just going to be kind of happening every time. Doesn't look like they actually go for the capture just yet. Do have the Time Walker's Pursuit. There is the tongue going to be going out onto the Kael'thas, and he will be falling very quickly, and that is the majority of the damage going to be falling for the members of ReGen. So they're going to go ahead and have to back off here, and it looks like they go ahead on the side of Game of Thrones, pick up that altar, and they're going to be setting their eyes on the aggressive side camp here from ReGen. They have to be a little bit careful here. They are really, really close to getting their 10s on the side of Game of Thrones, so that little extra, buff from a kill or two potentially could set them over, and then you just have a wipe, and then that's boss, and just a lot more devastating. So the poke that they can provide is exactly what they need to do. Make sure that these sappers don't get too far in and do any sort of damage to the fort. We do have actually Murder coming in for a flank here. The root will go out onto Ragnarok, and it looks like they actually have the ETC power sliding out. He will be taking quite a bit of damage, but it looks like he should. Ooh, doesn't look like it's going to be happening. ETC going to be falling here. But that is also going to be the sappers going into this bottom. Not going to be converting it over, but it's still going to be doing a significant amount of damage. But the other thing to consider is here, Game of Thrones tends to just about 9s. So we still have to consider these factors. Now, ETC just about to be back up. He doesn't have Stage Dive. He does have Mosh Pit. Sulkin kind of scouting this out. We do have... Ooh. So Lucky going to be going in. There's the root from the Arthas. Zulkin, I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of this. Does not look like it's going to be happening, and they actually... Are they going to be able to steal this over? It's just Oh, there is the Grey Maiden into the back line. Doesn't look like it's going to be happening. With Zulkin being down, I don't think they're going to be really wanting to take this. Huge silence coming out from Templite. There is just a solo dance party right there, and Danek's going to be falling. We do actually end up getting 3 kills during that exchange. And they end up sealing over this camp as well. That's another thing to consider. Zunicorn going to be chasing So Lucky here. It looks like the auto will go through, and they go ahead and pick up another kill. Murda is able to get out of that, but it looks like this is going to be both altars being picked up by the members of Game of Thrones. And then the question is, do they go for boss after that? They still have the advantage. Chromie did go ahead and pick up the left side. Ragnarok looks like he's positioned ready to pick up this one. They actually get a stun onto a couple of the members. The knockback onto Frost Absol, and it looks like he is able to boost right out of there, but Rising Star is left behind. There is a decent amount of health left. Should be able to get out just fine, but So Lucky taking so much damage. There is actually a pull onto the member of, Kael'thas is going to be falling there. Vala is also going to be completing that Hungering Arrow quest, but with that kill onto Kael'thas, it looks like they can move straight into the boss, and they still don't have 10, so they know that they can really play this aggressive. The other thing to consider is they also have Temporal Loop from Chromie, so if someone does come in, they do have that option to kind of send them back and then burst them down with some damage. Looks like Murda will go ahead and poke this a little bit, seeing, yep, they're on that. They're going to go ahead and take 4. They're going to shoot 4 more times at our core, but he's still in that mid lane. The tongue goes out, but it does not connect, but the power slide goes through. Templar going to go ahead, and actually we have Temporal Loop onto Murda, and he is going to be killed by Zulkin there. Rest of the team looks like they're going to be... I was going to say if they're going to be picking up this camp, but it's actually currently on a timer, but Crazy Ivan pretty much positioned for it. In the bottom lane, the other thing to consider is they're going to be pushing up that wave because this bottom fort is so low. A Sandblast from, or not a Sandblast, Dragon Eye from Chromie would be enough to basically just completely knock it over. Even like an auto attack from maybe like an Abathur, that's also an option too. But it looks like we do have this tower going to be prioritized in the top lane. We also have the sappers currently coming in as well, so it looks like they'll be able to convert this. Oh, they want to, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. And I'm wondering if maybe they were going to try and convert this, pull the attention of the team into the top lane, then be able to rotate bot, still get this one, and just have them kind of split focus. But either way, that still does pull those members into the top lane, and they're going to be able to rotate down and position themselves for this altar here. But it looks like ReGen, they want this bottom lane. Now, do we see a burrow from Dahaka? Are they going to stop it? Doesn't look like it's going to be happening in time, so it's going to be shots going over to the core of Game of Thrones. They end up picking up for themselves, and it looks like that will be taking their core down to 8. The other thing to note here is that Dahaka stayed top that entire time. Ooh, the mosh pit just about to come out, but it looks like it was interrupted by the boop from Lucio at the last second. We actually have the break it down coming out from Lucio. We do have Ragnarok currently falling here, and the knockback going to be happening from the ETC, but he will be falling to the Lucio as well. And at this time, that is exactly what the members of ReGen needed. That's the fight that they needed to take and win. And that's the kind of the synergy that I was talking about with their composition that I think they're going to have. There's the Earthquake, the Rain of Vengeance from the Vala. You have Kael'thas with the the Phoenix. Just there in itself lies just so much power, and without the Dahaka there for that extra damage, and just the overall fact that they caught them in such a good point, and they didn't get 5-man mosh because of that huge boop that came out from Lucio. I gotta say that was a huge play on the for ReGen. Like I can't stop saying huge because it was a phenomenal play. That I've really got to say that turnaround was huge, was big for them. But it looks like at this time, with the downtime between this triple altar phase, they're going to go ahead and convert over this bottom, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see them walk over and try and do the same with this. Now in mid, they're trying to kind of even it up and make sure that these altars are, or these towers are staying, you know, kind of in favor. But with the gate still up, it's going to be a long kind of burn here, and they are able to rotate a couple of the members up, which will be able to kind of zone this a little bit. And also, they need to prepare for their left side as well, if they don't want to be giving over too many shots. Now, bottom lane has still not been capitalized. I thought Chromie was actually going to be rotating down for it, but it looks like Zulkin will be coming up for the total team fight in this top lane. They're going to be giving over bottom. Actually, Dahaka will have the burrow down there. So with him showing down there, it looks like they go in for the dive onto the team. We do have a huge 3-man root boop into the team. There is a huge blow up onto so many of the members. The mosh pit onto 4, but there's no one to follow up, and so Loki just gets to stand in auto. And actually, Dahaka gonna go ahead and sneak. Oh my god, is he able to sneak this? Oh my god. Game number 1 gonna go over to Game of Throws. That sneak. First off,
Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I didn't update the score. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. So, on the left-hand side, we are going to be having Game of Throws up 1 game. And on the right, we are going to have ReGen. So, map number 1, just a note here also, map number 1 was the choice of ReGen. So, this is currently Baja Booty. Hey, Vet, how you doing? Thanks for swinging through, dude. So this is going to be the map choice for the members of Game of Thrones. Sorry, I just completely lost my train of thought on that. And then so compared to Towers of Doom, Veteran Wings, thank you for the follow, dude. I appreciate it. Let me just go ahead and check something really quick. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that. All right. Thank you. Thank you for swinging by. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, everybody. How are you all doing tonight? I cannot tonight. I'm literally, after this game, I go into another one, so I can chat about it tomorrow at some time, sure. But just tonight, I cannot talk about any sort of stream setup stuff. Alrighty, though. On the left, so we have Genji being banned out from Game of Thrones. Excuse me. Yeah. And then on the right, we're going to be having ReGen banning out that Gray Man that we saw from the last game. And then Hanzo actually going to be picked up from ReGen in this first slot. A lot of priority. Mad Hero Salads, thank you for the follow, dude. I appreciate it. Hanzo is going to be making sure that I didn't miss one there. There's a lot of value that you can get from Hanzo, especially on a map like this where like that boss pit, you can just melt that boss before the team could even potentially rotate in there. And the other factor too is just he's got good wave clear, he's just really strong in general, and so to see him in this first slot, it's not too surprising, honestly.
Oh, this is my blades are yours.
I like this. On the side of Game of Thrones, Sonya being really strong for the solo lane. Lucio going to be really impactful for their 4-man rotation between mid and top. And then at this point, realistically, all they need to do is build around the Lucio. They need to get wave clear. Maybe they can go for a hyper carry, but I doubt it. Realistically, I got actually a bunch of ideas for the Game of Thrones draft. But let's talk about ReGen before we go into the ban phase. Their next two pickups here. Realistically, you could go Stukov or Malfurion. It's whichever you're more comfortable on. I just think that those would be the stronger heroes in a situation like this. I like the Stukov for the disengage, but Malfurion's pretty strong as well for the dive. They go for the Stukov, and then realistically... Ooh. I was thinking Diablo, but I still like the Anubarak here. The shutdown onto Lucio with web rep, or just realistically anyone who's diving your backline is really strong. I really like that draft. So far from ReGen, it's a well-rounded draft for the start of the game. It's going to be... You're realistically going to probably want to focus on banning out things that would be difficult for the Sonya, or just focus on maybe some of their wave clear. That's not a bad option, honestly. We got to talk about Cho'Gall, of course. I don't think it will happen. It's a Cho'Gall map. It's the draft could lend to it. It's possible, but I don't see it happening realistically. Though at the same time, they did their work for him. They banned out that gray main. Ooh, grudge match. Yes, Sierras, it is. So they banned out the Maltheo. It works in the solo lane. It's got good clear. It works with the fights. It's strong on the map. It would be a little difficult for the Sonya potentially. It just, you know, at that point it's, you know, player v player is the other factor you have to consider in this, you know, stats. You can't just look purely at stats, unfortunately, especially when, you know, you're in like the literal middle ground of the Nexus Gaming series, like divisions. Like you're in the, like, this is Division B, it's the middle, so it's like, you know, some solo laners are going to be stronger on some heroes too. But overall, I mean, I still like the Maltheo ban, and then realistically, I kind of think that they either go for a Diablo ban here, or they maybe ban out the Garrosh. They go ahead and they get rid of the wave clear. It's also got good boss control too. But that means that they're not going to be prioritizing, well, I was going to say they could prioritize it themselves, but with the first pick after the ban phase being on the side of Game of Thrones, I guess not allowing them to be able to pick up that wave clear right away is pretty strong, and just being confident with whatever else you're going to be utilizing for that. I don't think it's just going to be like Hanzo for wave clear, because he realistically doesn't get it till like 7. And then more so at 16 with the piercing arrow, I think it is 16. I'm trying to learn all of Hanzo. All the Hanzo talents. But at this time, I seriously, I think that they could go a Wrath Sonya with a Garrosh that can toss her, so it'd be like a fake leap. And then on top of that, you pick up your wave clear, and then you flex on your last slot. And you pick up Kael'thas for that wave clear. Muradin, I still like it. Ooh. I like this. This is this team, like, it dives, and it can dive pretty hard. It also can disengage very well too. How do you deal with that? And what is going to be your wave clear? As so, like, they have to consider their wave clear and their solo laner. Zagara is pretty popular in this map, but I don't think that they would be playing it. Dahaka's available, but it's a pretty small map. He does have viability, but it's just one of those things that I don't know if they're going to be going for it. There's the Zagara. Okay. And they're going to go for Tychus. With the double frontline of the Muradin and the Sonya, I don't disagree with the Tychus whatsoever. The only thing that I wonder at this point is if they're going into... No, they can't, like... They're not going to hyper carry on a Lunara. I was like, do they go into a Garrosh and just go, like, just absolutely insane, and they have, like, Muradin just be, like, super bruisery? And you go for Playmaker? Ah, God, I hate saying it, but, like, I've seen it, and, like, there's some compositions where they do it, and it looks good.
It's a perfect day for some mayhem.
And they go for Junkrat. Makes a lot more sense than the crazy crap that comes out of my mouth. Hanzo should take Q at 4 so he can get OP Talon at 7. So he gets Wave Clear at 4. But doesn't the 4 Talent allow extra damage to non-heroic things, which would then give him Wave Clear at level 4? Isn't that what 4 already does? Or am I confusing that with 7? Either way, let's get into this. On the left-hand side, the composition that they've built on the side of Game of Thrones is pretty daunting. I think that they've got just a well-rounded draft here. But at the same time, there's a lot of good factors to consider on the side of ReGen. You've got the silence from the Stukov, so that just overall will kind of like... It zones some of your team apart from each other, and then if you throw into that backline, it will make them a little bit more difficult to be useful in some of these team fights. As well as the thing to consider here is that you have Hanzo, who's able to just overall just shoot from like half the lane. You've got Zagara Banelings dropping in. You've got Tychus throwing out grenades. He's doing percentile damage. Let's go, Kapow. Glad to see you in here. Oh boy, my chat's about to be spam. I love it. Let's get into this, though. Remind everyone that the chat is off, or the alerts are off during the casted gameplay. What division is this? I hopped in a little late. It is in the description. It is Division B East. This is Game of Thrones versus ReGen for the Nexus Gaming Series, and they are currently up 1 game. Okay. Music? Game? Anything? There we go. Uh-oh. We're swapping teams from DC now. Oh, we're on Central. Phew. Zulkin's back in. So with that, with the member dropping and coming right back in, let's get into this. On the left-hand side, we have Game of Thrones with Zulkin on that Junkrat. Zunicorn going to be playing the Sonya. Ragnarok going to be riding that wall on that Lucio. Templar going to be playing that Muradin, and rounding it out with Crazy Ivan on the Lunara. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with So Lucky on the Tychus. Frost Absol going to be playing the Stukov. Rising Star going to be playing the Anubrak. Danix on the Hanzo, and rounding out the team will be Murda on the Zagara. So we're seeing Hanzo opting in for that Q talent at level 1. And just this, you know, like I'm talking loosely to what I've seen in HGC and what I've tested so far myself, and W build is just a nuisance, especially because I keep playing him on Cursed Hollow, and with a double boss, you can just literally shred them. So he's an absolute nightmare to play against on Cursed Hollow, especially with the vision he provides for a lot of the team fights. He's just strong. But let's go ahead and we'll get into this. On the left-hand side, we're going to have Game of Thrones doing some of these rotations pretty quick, but the other thing to consider is that they've got, actually we have a pause coming in from Zunicorn. Let's go ahead and just block the map with my chair. Bahedi, let's get back into this. All right. So we do have a rotation coming out from both teams. Looks like Junkrat is back into the game. Sorry, downloading Bitcoin off of LimeWire. Oh, that's why Zulkin dropped. Oh, yeah, of course, you know. Zulkin's roommates are just using all of his internet, especially during his important game. Crazy Ivan going to be taking a little bit of damage there from the Hanzo splintered shot there. And we actually have bottom lane Zagar going to be actually getting dove on by Templar, but the Tychus is going to be able to capitalize on that. Now, will Zunicorn be able to spin out of this? There is the grenade that did push him a little bit further away, but he is able to get out and tap. There will be the vision over the wall, but it just will be able to show that he's not going anywhere, and the team will have to rotate back. So it's a 1-for-1 trade early into the game. Ooh, I cannot read that much text just yet. I'll have to come back to that after this match. Crazy Ivan going to go ahead and just kind of poke at this as this team pushes this wave up. Meanwhile, though, Zulkin going ahead and utilizing the abilities of Junkrat for kind of just vision on the rotations here, as well as just absolute, just a nuisance. We do have the clear coming out from that team, and it looks like at the same time, So Lucky a little, not too far out. It does have that dash just to get out of there just fine. We do have Zunicorn just peeking, just hiding in this bush currently as Murda clears out the wave. Going to be checking, and actually Murda going to get dove on, but there isn't a lot of follow-up damage coming out from the Sonya just yet in a match like this. Once she gets to her 7 with that Poison Spear, there is quite a bit of damage. We also see her going into that Seismic Smash, so that it's going to be another big talent for her. We actually have to jump in from Templar here, body blocking Murda a little bit. Zunicorn going to go ahead and spear in, and it looks like they get another kill onto the solo laner. And with that, Zunicorn will be able to kind of clear out a lot of the creep that Zagar's put forth, as well as Templar doing the exact same thing with that W there from the Muradin. And at this time, I mean, the rotations that are coming out from ReGen are working well, but unfortunately, these picks that are slowly going off into Zagar are really hindering their experience, and it's kind of slowing them down because it pulls the team's attention away from the rotations and the soaking, and so they're missing out on a little bit of experience. They're losing some gems, obviously, because Zagar is getting killed, but it looks like Danix will be coming down to the bottom lane for now, and Ragnarok and Crazy Ivan going to be doing the exact same thing. Looks like they're going to go ahead and just buy the time for Zunicorn to go ahead and clear out that camp. Or actually, excuse me, pick up that camp. And then I wonder if they're going to go ahead and try and turn in with that as well. So Lucky going to get caught in that trap. There will be the little bit of delay out from Zulkin there. With that just nice random damage coming out from the Junkrat. Zunicorn just about finishing up this camp. Should be pushing up into the wave soon. Murda starting this camp. Doesn't look like it's going to be picked up or anything. Crazy Ivan rotating down with the team. And then some of the things just to note here, we do have Hanzo going completely into a Q build. Junkrat looks like pretty standard to me. Is that? No, it's Thunderburn. Okay. Crowd control I think is blue. I was like, because it always throws me off the colors. I think it's like blue, white, and purple for the icons. Either way, nothing just too out of the ordinary here. We do have a spear in onto So Lucky, the dive in onto Rising Star, but they do actually get the turn in from Templar here. Rising Star going to be taking a little bit of damage, able to get out without a problem. The Junkrat mine did push So Lucky to the opposite wall. No follow-up damage onto that, but with that, the Web Weavers are going to be spawning. Bottom lane is still being controlled over by Murda. He does have good vision spread out across this, but at this time, he is kind of being contained to this lane with the way that they've been kind of picking him off and just also clearing out any sort of expansion he's making with some of that creep. And as you see, Zunicorn doing that exact same thing. Going to be coming down into this bottom lane, just trying to push this up. Mid looks like it's going to be just crashing with the Web Weaver that camp as well. So it's just a ton of siege in this mid lane. Now, the top was cleared out quite quickly. There is rotation coming out from this team, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anything too aggressive. We do have Frost Epsil going behind that gate. The rest of the team will be coming down here, but that is with the new bracket, and they're starting to zone some of these members out. We do have the Lurking Arm going down, but they are starting to kind of push into a couple of these members. There is the arrow coming out from Hanzo. Doesn't look like it's going to be getting a ton of value. Rising Star going to be diving in, but it's not going to be netting them a kill. We do have vision coming out from Hanzo. It does look like they do want to chase us a little bit, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to capitalize on it. Now in bottom lane, it was opened up a little bit more with that Web Weaver, and then comparing that to top. Top was just about kind of the same thing, so not the most powerful thing in the world, but definitely getting that initial siege is beneficial for the team here. Opening up this map makes it just very hard for the members of ReGen to retreat, and they can't be staying out so far in lane. Zunicorn going to be potentially caught here. There is the stun coming out from Anubrak. Do have a couple of the members diving in. Murda going to be taking quite a bit of damage here as Zunicorn dives in, and the Goomba does come out from Templar, but at this time we also have Sonya falling here. All those gems are lost. They do dissipate over time, and I do believe majority of Murdas were picked up. So at this time, that was an interesting trade that they just had. Do have Zulking taking a little bit of damage there from Danex trying to get up here and make sure he picks up this soak as well. Bottom lane looks like it's going to be having this siege camp picked up from the members of ReGen. But at the same time, we also have to consider the fact that there is 10s achieved for Game of Thrones, so that looks like they could potentially play some of this aggressive. There's the stun that goes out on Templar. He just disengages right away. Does not want to have to do anything with it. And we do have the Avatar, Riptire, Break It Down, Leap, and Leaping Strike from the members of Game of Thrones here. So we'll see how they utilize this in their next engagement. Crazy Ivan going to get the vision out. Looks like they are trying to chase with this 10 advantage. Do have this leap in from the Stonia, and as well as Crazy Ivan. He's trying to get a bunch of damage out onto Frost Absol. There is the Break It Down used from the Ragnarok there. We do have the Riptire coming out from Zulkin. It looks like it will be going out onto Rising Star. They end up getting the Frost Absol there as well as Rising Star, and with that double kill, they're going to be rotating. They don't have enough for a turn in just yet, but they definitely can de-push these lanes, get a little bit more map control, and overall, I mean, they can kind of get this game back into their favor. Realistically, this was starting to go over a little bit in favor of ReGen. The way that the lanes were starting to push up, some of this pressure was happening. And I know you say like, oh, but they don't have 10s and such. I'm like, yeah, but the other thing is that there's a macro aspect, and there was starting to get a little bit out of hand. They are able to back off here, regain control of their lanes, potentially go for a pick onto So Lucky, but he is able to back off of that lane very quickly. No dive in. I was like waiting for the dive. There's no dive. We do have the members of they don't have enough for turning, but they are trying to fight this currently. There is the arrow that does come out from Hanzo right away for a big stun. I was trying to take a sip of water. So really quickly, we do have Zagara going into the Nidus network. We have the Dragon's Arrow coming out. We have Flailing Swipe, Web Wrap from the Anubrak, and we also have Draken Laser Drill coming out from the Tychus. And it looks like at this point, they have enough gems on both sides, but they're realistically just trying to see who's going to get picked off first. There's the stun that does go out onto So Lucky here, taking quite a bit of damage, but there's the Break It Down also used from Ragnarok. Rising Star is being separated from the team, but there is the Lucio, who is currently web wrapped. There is the Flailing Swipe disengage. Unfortunately, it's not going to be sending out too much, and there actually is the Riptire used from Zulkin here. It's still actually going to be getting So Lucky, and they're going to chase him a little bit. Hanzo going to be coming a little far out. Zulkin going to be able to utilize the mine to get out of there just fine. And with this turn in from Template, they should be getting the next Webweaver phase. Do they stall it out?
The blue team has done as I asked. The spiders shall aid them.
With that little bit of delay that we had out from Templar, it does buy them time to go ahead and pick up this camp. They're going to go ahead and pick this up, and it will push into the mid as we saw from the last one. Seems to be the strategy for Game of Thrones, at least right now in this matchup. They're heavily prioritizing this mid, or at least stacking it up, so it is difficult for the enemy team to get any sort of clear onto it. And they do catch them not crazy far out, but they do try and catch them in this rotation as they were pushing up the top lane. And the reason they were doing that is because top lane is such a priority for some of these teams. Ooh, the mine that comes out onto So Lucky, and that is going to be the kill, but Crazy Ivan going to be leaping over the wall a little bit too far there. They do zone out these gems, and it looks like they're able to just get this, and it should be... This is going to be a really strong push, especially with that kill onto the Tychus. They don't really have a whole lot besides Hanzo at this point for any sort of clear. There is some from Zagara, but we currently see her just rotating in. And overall, I mean, they're going to get a lot of value. Now, the death timers are quite low. It is only 10 minutes into the game. There is a decent amount of damage coming out into a couple of the members there. I mean, this wave does not seem like it's going to be stopping. Templar are going to be pushing in a little bit hard here. And they are going onto this keep, but it doesn't look like they're kind of staying too long for it. They're kind of wavering at this point inside of Game of Thrones. Looks like they will be backing off and not getting the keep. But the other thing to consider, bottom, it was cleared out, but the thing to consider is that it stacked up all these minions. And here you can see how quickly a stacked up... Well, you also there's a little bit of help there, which I actually don't know the name of those, which... Oh, it's gone. I'll have to look at it next time. I don't know what those are actually called for the game. There's the Web Weavers, but what does it spawn? Overall, I mean, a really strong push from the members of Game of Thrones. This is interesting. Will it be able to be scouted out quick enough? The Wisp is going. Hanzo does use arrow, so they do see the Wisp. Zulkin is going to be able to... Ooh, actually getting damage onto Frost Absol. Using the mine is pretty good there, but it's not going to... Ooh, actually, they're starting to force a few of the members out here. The Draken Laser Drill is just ending. Currently have Breakdown used, but also there is the... Junkrat's Riptire, I think, went off, but they also cleared it at the same time. Boss is cleared out, and it looks like they defend this. Murden's playing really good. Sorry, just I should really close Twitch chat when I'm casting. Like, oh god. All right, Murda's gonna be going into the bottom lane, pushing this up quite a bit. Now, the other thing to consider is that he's got 22 of these 50 gems that they currently hold. They don't have enough on the side of Game of Thrones, but they're gonna turn in what they have, because I think at this time, with the level difference, if they realistically just get a couple waves here and they can take a really good fight, this map, it really can start to go over in someone's favor here. Especially with the fact that we're almost a 3-level difference. That's the thing that I'm really considering. And it's like they're posturing up for this potential pick, but they're not going for it. Hanzo gonna get the scouting arrow out. This is like really, really tense even for me. Rising Star taking quite a bit of damage, able to back off. Danex going to be backing off with that leap over the wall, but that is going to be on cooldown at this time now. Looks like the team is going to be rotating in. They definitely have enough for turn-in, but they are postured up at so many of these just points to just try and get this delay. They looks like they're going to be able to get Murda turned in here. That is going to be the first Webweaver phase for ReGen, and they do have this nice mid-wave crashing into the fort, but they're doing a good job of clearing that out, not taking too much damage. Bottom is pushed up quite significantly, so they don't need to worry about that. Top is kind of as well, so mid lane is their priority, which you can already see that they're postured up for that. Doesn't look like boss was picked up either, or like you know, leashed or anything, so they're going to go ahead and just, they'll be taken off the map. But this Webweaver phase, I realistically only think that it will just buy a little bit of time for the members of ReGen. I don't think this will be any sort of saving grace. They could technically take a huge fight. You never know. I just really got to quickly know. It's just called the Spider. We do have Draken Laser Drill coming out. Doesn't look like they really want to fight under this. They'll start to back off here. Ragnarok taking quite a bit of damage. Zunicorn going for that Spear pull. I think actually taking Mythical Spear, yeah, at 16 for that extra pull. Not a bad idea at all. I like the idea of, you know, you can swap between, you know, Life Funnel and that, because I think if you go into the leap, having that Mythical Spear, if you do need that extra bit of pull or disengage, I think it is quite good. But the other thing to consider is Life Funnel at 16, so strong. We do currently have the Scouting Arrow coming out, but overall, I mean, so at this point, if ReGen can just play this safe for the next 10 seconds, they can just get another turn in, and that will actually start doing quite a bit of damage for them, because the waves have been pushed up quite a bit. Now that they did have that one nice long Webweaver phase there, they go for the turn in right away. Rising Star going to be trying to get it. Doesn't look, actually gets, no, it looks like he will be delayed out for a hot second. The leap goes in from the Sonya. There's the follow-up stun from the Murden. The web wrap does go out onto the Sonya. There is the Riptire out from the Junkrat, but we also have Lucio breaking it down, and Lunara is trying to leap in there and does get that kill on to Rising Star. Actually, it looks like Junkrat stole that one. Frost Absol going to be following that up. Maybe. Nope, looks like he is able to get to the keep. There is the Hanzo arrow that does get that stun for a hot second. It looks like there will be the knockback from So Lucky. They do get some vision onto Ragnarok here as they do speed away. But overall, I mean, they can just go for a turn-in. There's the interrupt from Tychus. This is like really, really tense for me. We do have Templar jumping out at this time. We do have Draken Laser Drill coming out at this time as well. And so if they just back off of this, it looks like Crazy Ivan's just going to be burning this down really quickly. Taking a little bit of damage himself. Templar going to be jumping in onto So Lucky. It looks like he should be able to get out of there. Dive onto a couple of the members, though. We do have actually huge kill onto the Sonya with the Webweaver pickup that, you know, it will de-push some of these lanes, but the other thing to consider is that Murden does not have an out. There was the silence underneath. Templar, do you have an out? Stun goes out, but it is not going to be enough, and it looks like these members are going to have to rotate down and play this Webweaver phase safe, and that is a huge play for the members of ReGen there. pushes them into 16 beyond that, obviously. Evens up the playing field. It gives them time to kind of clear out these web weavers. I think that they should be able to save this keep. This wave is pretty powerful. It's going to be kind of close. No, the minion wave should be able to distract the spiders long enough. So that's going to be the top keep saved for now. Bottom looks like it's being cleared out a little bit from that Zagara creep, as well as just pushing up this web weaver. But as you can see, it's very low itself. Though this mid's starting to stack up a little bit. Okay, they're going to go. They're not going to give over a keep like that. Do have Frost Absol currently postured up. The biggest part of Mythical Spear is that it reduces spear CD. True, but it also pulls you too. That's another big factor. And that could mean life or death. But I know what you're saying. I feel you. Vision going to be coming out onto Templard, actually. Yep, more damage and chase. Yep. We do have a dive in on to Crazy Ivan here. Does he have any leaping strikes? It looks like he will have one. The arrow goes out, but it actually connects onto... We do have Tychus getting that grenade out that last second, and I think that was the kill onto the Lunara there. And with that, they should be able to get this turn-in phase quite easily. Murder going to be getting 27 gems in. Templar going to be trying to dive out to get that kill, but it looks like they get the majority of those in. Danik's going to be the next person to try and just feed these in, and they're doing a really good job of just bodying this damage that Zulkin's been trying to do just to kind of delay this and poke this out. So that is going to be another Web Weaver phase in favor of ReGen, and this game is getting good. Looks like they're setting their eyes for the top lane. They want to kind of position themselves to make sure that they do have that opportunity to end the game with a boss, and you know, this top lane being that win condition. They're heavily prioritizing that. Now, the members of Game of Thrones are going to prioritize this mid lane, and I like what they're doing because they do know that that top was a give. If they save their mid, it's going to be a little bit better once if they do get catapults, if they end up eventually getting this keep. This could be a game-ending push. You never know. We do not know. But we'll find out in just 1 second here. With the Web Weaver currently pushing in, they get the gate. No dive in. We do have a separation from the Junkrat. Trying to get some damage out. It looks like Templar will back off for a quick second. Able to get that third win value. The members of ReGen doing a phenomenal job just poking to this keep. Dragon's Arrow does come out. They do dive onto a couple of members with the Nubrak. There's the leap into the backline with the Sonya. We do have Lucio breaking it down, but also the Web Wrap does come out. They're trying to burn this so that they can get healing from their members, and they're also trying to get him out as well. They do lose the keep, but they end up... No one dies. Nobody dies. Like, everyone hit R. Yeah, everybody hit R, and nobody died. Meanwhile, in mid... this wasn't delayed out long enough, so it doesn't look like it will be getting the keep. You can see that the team is rotating in for it. Zagara already going back into that bottom lane, going to spread some of that creep, push up that lane, make sure that they get this in favor, because this game just flipped. It's completely, I wouldn't say completely, but it is much more in favor of the members of ReGen in the last minute and a half, maybe? I mean, this last Web Weaver push completely pushed them into 20s. They got to keep. Now, the other thing to consider, I keep noting this, but it's like, oh god, that's got to be tantalizing on the side of Game of Thrones, because catapults in this game, getting at 20 minutes, they start to do a lot of damage to cores, and they're really going to start scaling really hard soon. It's just one of those things that you have to consider as we get later and later into this game, what kind of risky plays you're going to make. They're postured up for this, but they're faking boss. Wisp is able to kind of scout this out. They're starting it. It looks like they need like 1 or 2 clears. This bottom lane they're going to have to ignore. They're going to have to let that naturally push out, hopefully. Ooh, boy, this is... They have to give this. There's no way they can get in there in time. They delay it for a couple seconds to just allow a couple team members to get up there, but this bottom lane is going to be a nuisance very quickly. This is the do or die situation for the members of Game of Thrones. We will see here. We could be going... Well, not going, but this could be just a 1-to-1 matchup. We're going to see here. Flank going to be coming out. They dive straight into the backline. We do have the team separating. We do have a leap from the Sonya on to Murda here. The Fling Swipe just come out, and it pushes them only closer to the corner. There is the web wrap onto the Lunar, who was a little bit low there. We just have Break It Down coming out from Lucio. He is currently running away from the team, needing to get out, and he actually will be killed there. We do have Lunara falling as well, so this is currently a 2-for-1 trade, and the members of ReGen are currently walking towards the core as this boss at 21 minutes is starting to do some damage. Now, they might be able to save this, but here's the thing. Their Lunara is not there. They have Zulkin for some of that poke damage, but at the same time, this is just about the full team rushing the core, and it looks like this is going to be game number 2? Yeah. Game number 2 is going to be going over to ReGen. They're going to be tying it up. GG, well played. Whew.